Corporate Service Committee meeting to order, and again welcome those who are visiting live stream this morning. At this time I would ask any members of the committee to declare pecuniary interest either now if it arises down the agenda. Action items. Betty Ann.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I was actually reflecting on my agenda this morning and thinking that I should likely start with my information items because they're good news and savings, and then return to my action item where we're actually asking for some funds. I want to just add thanks to Darlene for sending out the revision on the renovations at Park Street Administration Center, because if you recall, the original report that you received, it referred to at the time of the writing, we were still working with the contractors to get the estimates for what we were going to be doing. But I just wanted to reflect a bit on the project itself, that when we started last year, that our original goal and the overall goal, which has changed, is to accommodate some additional staff, certainly in a secured space and a good work environment, and along with that modernizing our existing space to avoid expansion and taking into consideration needs for customer service and accessibility. And we've had very little renovations done to the original design of this building, built in 1982. We've had two expansions, but we have never really taken a look at how we can take advantage of unused space, some 35 years later from when the building was originally designed. And that's what we've been trying to accomplish through this process over the last several months. And the one very good example, I think, is in the first floor, where we created the Office of the Warden and CAO department that now houses 6 offices and a boardroom, and that previously that footprint housed 3 offices and a smaller boardroom. The original 1982 carpet still exists in some of the areas and is planned for replacement this year with the carpet tiles that you've seen in the atrium and in the social services department. And throughout the building, I'm sure you've noticed, along with the council chambers, the fresh new paint colors that have been drawn from our new brand, and they're on the walls and now on the doors as well. And this was an additional project that we took on, and as we started, as you know, the project was to do some renovations to accommodate the human resources and the IT division, but as we reflected on it, we knew that it was time to modernize, so those paint colors came alive, and of course introducing the new brand onto the wall, entering into the council chambers as well, which we're very proud of. And that additional project was led by our maintenance supervisor and a color team of staff from various departments, and then made possible through the Social Services Employment Program, and we've been really happy to have them here in the facility through these months, and they've been doing a terrific job. So in this next phase, what do we have planned? And of course the request for the up to $100,000 to complete this. Continue with that overall goal, and as you're familiar with the second floor, to take the Planning and Development Department, where it currently has 7 offices, and the renovations that we have planned would create 11 offices and an open space that would accommodate 2 to 3 staff, and that's on the very same footprint that we had. So again, utilizing the space that we have, but just in a more efficient fashion. In transportation, we currently have 3 offices and certainly a lot of open area, and the recommendation for there would create 7 offices in that same footprint and close in the open space to the atrium to provide privacy to that transportation department. Health services, which includes our long-term care and paramedic services, we would recommend to renovate that area to accommodate an office for the Director of Health Services and the 2 paramedic services chiefs, as well as administration staff. And currently in that area, and some of us will recall when that area was actually open to the atrium, and we renovated several years ago to actually open that area and take it up to a 2nd level and provide office space at that time that was needed. So we would look at redesigning that space that's there to take, right now there's really 2 two very usable offices, and then there's two anti-rooms that are certainly limited to what can be used in there. And what the recommendations will do is create 3 offices for those 3 individuals, and then an open reception area. In social services, which is an area where we felt that as we were going to look at the entire building, we should not stop, and certainly Director McDonald has had some good suggestions on how they can better serve the clients that they have if we were to do some renovations there, and improved counter reception area for those clients, to improve access to the interview rooms for the clients, and making it more efficient and secure for both staff and clients, and to take advantage of unused space in that open welcome reception. And really looking at constructing a design similar to corporate services, where we have the glass and area for the for reception, and removing what, back in 1982, the design of the counters, the wide counters, and that was very functional for many years, but now we're finding that we need to use that footprint, we need to use that space. So by designing a more sleeker, efficient design, I think will serve us for many years to come. And we will also be constructing a large meeting room overlooking the atrium, and mirror the design that would replace the railing at the transportation department. So if you're, before you leave, if you're looking at that, the railing that's in front of the transportation and also to the other side, we would actually drywall those in up to a knee wall height, and then have glass across the top there, so it would provide, again, using that space where it's now a hallway to nowhere. Really, it's a hallway into a maintenance area, but we also have access from other ways that we can have, so it's not impacting our access or in any way. So that is the what we have planned to complete the second floor, and based on the quotations that we've received and the funds available, it would a further $100,000 would be required to be able to do that. And as I said in my report, that those additional renovations would address the growing need, and would certainly put us in a place to be able to avoid any further expansion, and just take advantage of that underused space. As well, the recommendation, you will, the $150,000 that had been previously committed to this project would be repaid in equal annual installments. And we do have a couple of opportunities. You will recall that nearing year end in 2016, we are forecasting a fairly healthy surplus at the end of 2016. That is not finalized. I'm not in a position to give any numbers today, other than to suggest that most of what we're seeing, and yet there are still a couple of fairly significant outstanding items that we're still managing, but we would expect that the tax stabilization reserve would certainly be able to accommodate this renovation, but and that would be the first recommendation, is how we would do that, but otherwise it would be supported out of the working capital reserve and paid over in the next 10 years, which could be accommodated in the levy.
So there is a staff recommendation. Mover and seconder, and then I would open it up for discussion. Robert, seconded by Ann. Discussions.
So are you seeing this as a necessity for this year, or can it wait till the 2018 budget? Like, is there going to be advantages for 2017 year?
I can speak to that, and then I may ask our CAO, but we have made, there have been some decisions that have been made throughout 2015 and 16 that have been impacting staff, particularly in planning and development, where they are not able to work out of that department, and they're it's kind of the last piece of that puzzle, and then with the Director of Health Services, that position, and just the need to have them at the Administration Center. So I think it is important that we move forward in 2017 and continue the momentum that we have already established at this point.
So it is crowded for certain departments then, with our additional staff being added, and then is there cost savings by just continuing on as well when you have the contractors, or is it all opening up to new contractors again?
I would suggest that it is probably certainly cost savings to continue with the contract, but right now we, as I said, even with putting 11 offices into planning and development, they will occupy all of those immediately. So.
Where are the staff now?
In various locations. I think.
Through you, Mr. Warden, a couple are in my area, and a couple are in the HR area. I think it's actually 3 are in the HR area.
Not in offices, are they?
They are in temporary closed areas, yeah.
Robert?
So if these people transfer all into this one area, you could utilize those offices for other things? Is there demand for those other offices?
Through you, Mr. Warden, the offices could be utilized, but right now the demand is things such as hoteling stations and support for when the external auditors come in to give them a work location while they do the field audit.
Other comments? Paul?
I think we should proceed with this, and Ms. Betty Ann's recommendation, and she did an absolute fantastic job of last year and the year before, so before she up and retires on us, we should get this done.
Legacy.
Other comments? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just wondering if Mayor Paul knows something I don't.
Or suggesting.
Janice?
I'm just wondering, are you going to put the Bruce logos on these nice blue walls?
I think what I've been a little stingy with the dollars that I've been granted, so I'm hoping that we can, and what remainder that we can make that. Well, so one of the other projects that we have is certainly getting signage on certain doors. We have one automatic door here entering into the council chambers. We want to make it a second one. So there are a number of little projects but we've just been trying to prioritize and use the money as wisely as we can. So certainly that would be the hope. Yes.
David?
Yeah, I think what we've done so far and the plan that moving forward with this is certainly good value for our money, and it puts us in a place where we probably won't have to do anything for quite some time. We have a neighbor to the east that's had to spend a lot of money on a new addition, and this small amount that we're doing as far as costing is going to serve us a long time.
Okay. All right, we've had a mover and seconder. All those in favor of the recommendation? Opposed? That is carried.
Thank you.
Next is corporate lease vehicle information. Good news story.
Yes, and we do like to share those good news stories, and we appreciate Council's approval with the cross-functional team. That was a recommendation that we introduced the corporate leased vehicle And you'll also notice that as part of that, we introduced a designated parking space for the corporate vehicles, and anytime you drive in, you probably very seldom see the white car sitting there, because it is definitely well used, and we're certainly very pleased with the uptake on that. And you can see that over the course of the year, we do anticipate that we would save approximately $10,000, and that's probably a conservative calculation on that. And the second good news story is out of our purchasing division, and the work that the purchasing division and the IT technology services have worked together with our vendor of record, and certainly the savings and the surplus that we intend to be generated over the course of 2017 in the, again, an estimated amount of almost $50,000 is expected, and you'll see that the departments will see that on their budget lines in the telephone. So it was it was coming, and it took a bit of work on both behalf, but we were really happy to see that happen in November and December.
Paul?
Is that the same, like, why, I'm having trouble trying to figure out why such a change? Like, am I reading it wrong? So was it the same provider? And I think so it's okay to say it's on here, the Rogers phones. Are they still Rogers phones?
For the end user and for the county, there was no difference. The only change that we saw was in our invoicing. So it was taking advantage of that vendor of record and sourcing it out, and that it was available to the broader public sector. They don't make that widely known to people. And so we were on a previous vendor of record. There had been originally, when the discussions first started, it was thought that we were going to have to upgrade all of our phones, and that we were going to have to make that, and that was going to be almost I think it had been estimated earlier last year, early in 2016, that we may have to make a $40,000 investment in order to be able to save that. And so we were cautious, and then over the next several months, then the purchasing manager and the IT staff basically reviewed it further, and then went back to the table again, and it was deemed that we did not have to upgrade any of our hardware, and that they would introduce the new pricing for us.
Well, I think it's just awesome. Congratulations to your purchasing people.
Ann?
So was it a matter of they were just trying to sell you new business type phones and upgrade that way, or? So it was the exact same company?
Everything was the same. It was just that we were able to take advantage of this record of vendor pricing, the new pricing that was available, the Ontario government contract, and we were able to piggyback on top of it. And previous, we had other pricing and weren't able to take advantage of it. So through viewing that, I think it certainly catches everyone's attention when you have a almost $9,000 monthly invoice for cellular phones and data usage, regardless of what it is. And it certainly had been something that had been on our radar for months, and we were able to move forward with it and to actually get the change. So it was a good news story that we wanted to share.
Excellent. I just kind of had assumed you changed carriers or whatever.
No.
Thank you.
And the final item is just as required under the Municipal Act, the 2016 Statement of Remuneration and Expenses.
Okay. Anything else? Motion to adjourn? Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Are you staying?
It's going to be 2 minutes if you'd like to stay.
Is it? Okay.
Okay, so
think it is.
a motion to go into close. David and Robert, all those in favor?
He'll be doing both, right?
So we'll adjourn? We've adjourned?
Homes.
Yeah. Have a good trip.
Thank you.